We're doing something a little different for this Fast Five, so I'm going to start with a homemade limerick. Muffins are good. Muffins are great. Muffins are...
Let me help you, John. How much muffin could a muff of a muffin could muff muffins?
amazing.
Okay, folks, we're picking our first ever sequel tonight. Actually, you are. Don't mess it up.
Ladies, gentlemen, clones, deer, degenerates, welcome to Fast 531, with the only podcast where beer names become cinematic nightmares and nobody stops us.
That's right. So we've got 5 beers, 5 movie pitches, and 1 serious breach of voting protocol this week.
Because something magical happened. The team at Funktastic Beer and Mead sent us a brand new beer, sort of inspired by our feature film, Muffin on the Backside, which was inspired by their beer. It's dangerously good.
So good that we're throwing a tradition out the window and replacing it with pure muffin madness.
Next week's feature film is going to be a Muffin sequel. No debate, no vote, Muffin wins.
Muffin does win. But you do get to decide which sequel we make. So I've got a pitch. John's got a pitch. Only one muffin can rise.
That's a good baking pun. So head over to Instagram and vote for your favorite Muffin sequel idea. And remember, this isn't democracy. This is dessert beer-based destiny.
First, a quick detour through emotional deer trauma and righteous woodland violence. Let's take a look back at last week's feature, Bambi's Revenge.
What did the boys brew up last time? Let's revisit the madness.
So now that we're kind of experts at ruining, modernizing Disney classics.
That's what we're doing.
Altering, changing, adding some flavor and human skin outfits to Disney classics. Last week's Bambi's Revenge felt like we're finally hitting our stride with this podcast. I think we've actually gotten, if you can believe it, better at coming up with these feature films. But it was really cool to see the polls and people really getting in line for Bambi's Revenge.
I know.
I appreciate the big push for Granny's Gone Wild, which would have been a lot of fun.
A lot of fun too.
Bambi's Revenge was a fun thing to do. What do you?
It was something.
Thinking back on it, Harrison. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. So I didn't realize how much he'd be wearing. Bambi would be wearing people's skin and making an outfit out of a human. I think the metaphor there, I don't know if you can call it that, but the message of man, he becoming the thing he hated the most and then killing the thing he hated the most or whatever. There's probably something poetic there. But he was kind of more Hannibal Lecter than he was Rambo. But that's okay. I think that's okay.
He was John Wick for a little bit.
He was John Wick. He was throat ripping people. He was Patrick Swayze. Maybe he was Rambo in the field. He was kind of a combination of all Hannibal Lecter.
That's what every girl wants: a Rambo in the field and a John Wick in the kitchen.
And a Hannibal Lecter in the alley or whatever. So yeah, that's how my Tinder profile works. But so that was cool, or surprising maybe that he was really. Right, really took it upon himself to deliver some messages with his violence. Bambi did. It wasn't enough to just run in with his antlers and stab the man and the son in the face and kill them. No. He had to really get the whole forest involved and make everyone who sees this movie freak out forever. Every time they see a deer or a person in the dark stumbling in the night, they're going to worry that it's a deer wearing a man's outfit.
True. We might be responsible for more hunting licenses this season.
Oh my God.
I like that point I'm really glad you did the research, which is not part of this podcast, but went and found like the original sort of story of Bambi, because I didn't remember any of it except for the tragedy.
Nobody does.
And so we got to work that into the story. I do feel like there's a part of me, maybe it's my soul, that thought, like, if Bambi becomes this dark, when he goes back to his forest, it won't. You can't
Right.
you can't go to war and come back
You're
and be like,
right.
now I'm just selling pencils and everything's fine. Like, it's really hard to do that. So I think we missed a chance to sort of turn that into a teaching moment about Bambi's gone too far and the forest will never be what it was before.
Ooh, you're right. That could have been a nice dark twist, John. That's a good call. Of instead of what did happen of kind of the forest taking over the city or this town and the animals reclaiming what was once theirs, it instead becomes this cautionary tale of Bambi's unstoppable now and a thirst for blood. And Bambi, we've won the war. You don't need to keep going from town to town.
Don't go to the
people.
mall anymore.
Right, exactly right. He's just, it's a whole state has been abandoned because Bambi's just lurking
Everything
and
is
waiting.
the forest.
With human suits.
This was all forest.
Oh God, I knew we'd figure that out eventually.
Yeah.
Crap.
Like, you can't, if you compromise your values to win a confrontation, a war, an agenda, a debate, then like even if you win,
can't go back.
You've kind of
lost.
given up on your principle.
You're not the same person. So it could have ended with like him terrorizing the whole state and the CIA scooping him up. And then he really does become Rambo. They're like, if you want to kill, we'll give you people to kill, and just drops them, in some faraway country, and lets Bambi do what Bambi now does best, which is kill, which is throat rip and wear people as suits.
Look, we can print human hands and stuff for you, so
That's
no worries
right.
there.
Worry about that.
Got a much nicer gun you can have.
Right, we're getting sepsis from the finger graft, so we got your hands. You can hook it up to your head. You can control it with your brain. So they build him a human suit. Now he's got like mech armor, but he's still a deer. I mean, that's a hell of a sequel to that movie. I don't know who would see it. People probably would. I would. But yeah, so it didn't go that way. We let him return from war and well, he was not be too changed. They stockpiled a bunch of guns and he likes having a trigger finger now. And they're kind of all just I think gonna forever be all living with a bit of PTSD. But we didn't address any of that. We ended it like a Disney movie. Happy flowers, the forest returns. We'll let the critics sort
Thumper
out.
had his ladies.
Thumper is, I don't know how he's not dead from rabies or all the STDs he probably has, but maybe the rabies keep the STDs away. Can't compete.
I wish we would have had more Thumper dialogue. I wish we would have given him more of a voice, because Thumper was like my comedic relief.
Yes.
The clicking was fun. I wish we would have had more woodland creature sort of like. I had a thought when we were recording it that they called it maybes instead of rabies, because it was like, we don't know what Thumper we're gonna get,
right?
Which would have been fun, but like not really necessarily. It wouldn't have been essential to finish making Bambi's Revenge. It just would have been a little fun,
right? And it was fun to learn as we recorded that I really only know one Creed song. I thought I knew like 3, and I went to search for them in my brain, and there was nothing else there. So we got, but you guys got a bunch of different versions of
I only know
Arms Wide
4
Open.
words to one Creed song.
But I could see the music video so clearly. Anyway, so that was, hope you enjoyed that. I hope Creed doesn't care or liked it or didn't notice or whatever. I'm sure we're flying well under their radar.
We did this for you, Creed. It would have been great. It would have been
great.
a smash.
And again, this is their Tarzan Phil Collins moment if they want it. A bloody revenge thriller based on a beloved children's movie. Right up their alley. It's a Christian rock band. But regardless, it happened. We did it.
Bambizus, the Bambi version of no.
He rises again. Bambi always comes back.
If I had to write that into the script to get Creed to do it, I would have no problem.
We'd figure it out.
Doing that.
If you're interested at all, Creed, we can figure this out. We can compromise. As long as the human suit is still in here at some point, I think we can. Everything else we can figure out. Yeah. All right. Cool. So enough looking back. Let's move forward. And what better way to do that than with another cold beer? Not just any cold beer, John. We're ready to take center stage.
This is the first time we'll have been drinking one of our feature film beers, and I can't thank Funktastic enough. So stick around for the beer of the week.
It's a podcast about turning beer names into movies. We need some inspiration.
All right. So, yes, as John just said, this is a first for us. A lot of those are pretty cool. We are enjoying a beer that we've made a movie out of. So you guys know it. You guys love it, I hope. We have from Funktastic Beer and Mead, Muffin on the backside.
She found her way to the shed.
She always does. Muffin always comes home. We hope. Muffin always comes
back to the orphanage
home. Yes. So this is super cool. So thank you to Matt, who is kind of Funktastic. It sounds like a one-man show there. Matt's doing a lot of stuff, making amazing mead, making amazing beer. He sent us this. So obviously Muffin on the Backside already existed. That's why we made a movie out of it. He heard it. He loved it. Shared it on his socials. Sent us messages about it. He was really a champion of, has been of the podcast since discovering it when we featured one of his beers, and was kind enough to send us some. It was, let me see, gosh, just their 1 year anniversary for making beer, like, just happened.
Oh, wow.
They've been making mead for a while, but started doing beer about a year ago. So congratulations to Matt and Funktastic. And thank you for sending us this killer beer. So, okay, let me talk about it.
Wait, real quick.
Okay.
You said they make mead. Yes. Huge fan of mead.
I know you are.
If you're hearing this and you're like, what is mead? Isn't that the Viking stuff? I mean, yes, but mead is also, if you like honey, or even if you have a talented mead brewer, meadery,
sure.
mead maker, thank you. If you're a talented Viking, try mead. If you've never had it before, it's delicious.
Yes, it's very good. Some of it's closer to wine. We've had, so there's sparkling mead now, which is like carbonated mead, which we've had from Superstition. You and I. So, yeah, very cool. Mead's really something. Don't knock it till you try it. I know a lot of people think honey is going to be too sweet. Oftentimes it's not. There's all different kinds of meads out there. So and Funktastic makes some of the best. And they're also becoming really well known for their pastry stouts, which is what this is. So Muffin on the Backside, with a name like that, it should surprise no one. And it's an imperial pastry stout. Coming in about 14%.
14?
I believe so.
That's three of my normal beers. Exactly. I love this already.
This is going to get, you guys are in for a real treat in this Fast Five. Let me tell you, it doesn't make any sense. We'll be laughing a lot. 14%. Yep, pastry stout with blueberry, almond, double stuffed golden Oreos, and cinnamon. Holy goodness, holy insulin, John.
But yes, for all of you wondering about the diabetes jokes, I am a diabetic. So when I make diabetics jokes, it's just about me and my own personal experience. And when I drink pastry stouts, it's kind of like cheating. Although there is some carbohydrates in here, I'm quite sure. Eating a blueberry almond muffin with some double stuffs and cinnamon, probably frosting. Yeah. In my case, harder to do than drink this beer, but I get to experience the joy of it all in a sip. Can we drink this?
Yeah, I was gonna say let's drink it. We've been waiting long enough, and then we can talk a little more about it. But cheers, John.
Cheers, Harrison. Cheers, Funktastic. Thanks for the share. We haven't had a stout on this.
Yeah, I know.
And this in a while.
Oh my God, I'm terrified.
Like,
ooh,
we've drank a lot of lagers recently, but smelling this smells like the best birthday party you've ever had.
Fruit. There's a
blueberry.
Yes, right? but yes.
Okay. Okay. Sorry.
You're right.
I thought I was super.
You're right, John.
I'm a culinarian.
But it smells like a fruited candy from my childhood.
Yes, it smells like one of those
It's a shark. It's those shark fruities. The shark fruit. You know what I'm saying? You
keep saying fruit. Shark fruit
gummies, little gummies,
like the little my
white shark that was a mystery flavor.
Where I grew up, I think they were Garfield shaped, but I know the sharks you're talking about.
God, it smells exactly like that.
I don't even want to drink this. It smells so good.
It does smell really good.
I mean, it smells like I want to say like dark chocolate blue, but not blueberry, like blueberry jam, blueberry fudge.
Blueberry fudge. All right, let's go. Let's do it. Let's do it.
Fucking son of a motherfucker.
Whoo! Oh my God. That's got some calories in it. Wow. The almond comes in very nicely. It kind of sneaks in there. I love a good almond, like an S cookie was what we had growing up, which are like almond cookies in the shape of an S. I'm getting that. Yeah. Getting that a little bit.
Ours were shaped like lighthouses. There's a lot of subtle differences between our childhood. They're both almond cookies.
Whatever timeline.
In Philly, they did S's. Woo. This is really, really good. There's more flavor that should be allowed for a liquid. It's like super saturated with flavor.
Yeah, there's so much happening.
But I'm really, really thankful that it's not cloyingly sweet like I'm drinking syrup. It's got all the flavor, but it finishes pretty clean and neat.
Ooh, boy, yeah, you're right. That's always my fear with pastry stouts is I'm going to be going, ooh, that's so sweet. My teeth hurt. That's not happening at all with this. I'm amazed at kind of how jammy, like you said, that blueberry is in the beginning. Holy crow.
Yeah, you could tell me that this was like a blueberry Danish or blueberry turnover inspired flavor.
That's kind of what it tastes like. A blueberry Danish.
Full of. And it's not just us geeking out about this, because Harrison and I are both old and fat and love dessert. But I looked on Untapped and the reviews were like, I shouldn't like this, but damn, had to go back for a full pour.
Yep.
One of the reviews I thought was very my speed. And I'm reading this verbatim, so you know it's not coming from me. Fuck. Nice as fuck. Boozy, thick, sweet. This was amazing. Honestly, it was super good pastry stout. You can't go wrong with this. And then they went on to thank Matt in their check-in. We looked at some of the pictures you can see behind us if you're watching on video. Yeah. Harrison, have you ever seen a flight board that looks like it just has everything?
Yeah, exactly right. It's the whole, I'll take one of each, please. It's what it looks like you kind of are able to do there. And the colors are amazing.
There's a green one on there.
There's green, there's a blue, there's a red, there's a bunch of clearly meads, and it looks like maybe some hazy IPAs, more stouts. Yeah, so Matt is not messing around. He's kind of a wizard. He's gotten that reputation of not being afraid to try things, and he nails it so like every time. So it's really cool to just enjoy some Funktastic, but then to just see what the experience like at the actual meadery and brewery at their tasting room.
Yeah, holy cow.
These pictures.
And for like a small team.
That's an Uber night right there.
Yeah, this lucky. Is 14%.
Right.
I imagine the meads are close to that.
Yeah.
For a small team, all I can say is a beer nerd is that there's a brewery called The Brewery. Clever. Mm-hmm. And they make some limited release, like wax sealed, super hard to find, super dark stouts. Like Black Tuesday is one that got very popular. But then they had made one that I basically had to trade 6 months of mortgage for. And it was a blueberry inspired deep dark stout, and it was delicious. This Muffin on the backside, easily goes hand in hand with it, and we all know Muffin would kick ass in a fight.
Yeah.
So like the fact that you're putting this out a year after opening up, damn, Midlothian, Virginia.
I know. Look out, folks. If you're so if you're in around Richmond or I think they're Midlothian proper, go check them out. This is amazing. And Muffin, our Muffin, would love this. It's a little bit sweet, a little nutty, powerful, packs a punch, just like Muffin. So I think we nailed the movie. Obviously, Matt nailed the beer. And now, gosh, we get to enjoy it. And this is going to be, these are the kind of beers, John, that I have a hard time drinking, but this is so good, it's going to sneak up on me. So everyone at home, get ready for Harrison to not know what happens after beer number 2.
Which is much different than his usual beer number 3.
Oh, that's right.
So thanks for sending us this. We're going to drink it while we rip through Untapped. It's not going to be the beer that inspires the movie, but...
Right. It'll inspire us.
When we get to our 5th beer, it's going to be pretty damn close.
Democracy in action. Pick your favorite before the deadline.
So, hey, real quick break while your brain tries to make sense of our drinking choices.
don't worry. This isn't an ad. No meal kits, no mattress codes, no vitamin gummies made from the tears of podcasters.
We don't do ads on this show because we're powered by freedom and your validation.
So if you want to support us, like actually support us, follow us at Beer Me That Movie on Instagram, Untapped, TikTok, and YouTube.
And leave a comment, tag us in your beer check-ins, or yell your wildest movie idea into the void at speakpipe.com/beermethatmovie.
Your engagement keeps this show going. And more importantly, it keeps John from monetizing our souls.
Which we've already sold for beer. But hey, vote, message, scream into the voicemail. It's free, and it makes us feel like we matter.
Unlike those vitamin gummies.
Those were THC gummies.
I wondered why there were no leftovers after that night.
For our first beer, this was submitted by one of our favorite listeners, goes by Lance. They sent it to us as an Untapped DM. This beer is made by the Shop Beer Co. out of Arizona,
Yes.
and it's called Church Music.
Hot dog. Church music. Okay. I mean, I know where my mind goes immediately, John.
Gospel choirs?
Sure. But more importantly about what maybe one of the people in those gospel choirs. Someone near and dear to our hearts, and hopefully all of yours at home.
The priest who tells you when to start singing.
Nope. And don't be listening to any priests about singing or anything else, folks. I mean, I guess you can. But what I'm thinking, John, is our good old interdimensional sexy nun.
Oh, church music.
When I hear church, I think of our sexy nun first.
When I think
now.
of nuns, I think of getting in trouble at school. But
sure.
No, they're part of church as well.
They
yes,
are.
I often
And part of the Beer Me
overlook
That Movie universe.
Very much so.
So we always knew, I can't remember if we talked about it on the show or just talked about it with each other, but there should be, hopefully, eventually, a movie that deals with the origin story of our beloved sexy nun, who, of course, first showed up in our first movie, Banana Wheel, and really kind of guided our heroes along in pretty meaningful ways in that film, and has shown up a couple times since. So I saw this. We can flesh out a little bit if we want, but this could be her origin story, how the sexy nun became the sexy nun. But remember, when we first named her, she was an interdimensional sexy nun, and that's crucial. She can travel through time and space and uses magic or whatever.
The power of song.
The power of song.
Or maybe like an organ when you play
like
the
you
right
play
organ
not like
keys.
your lung. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, dude. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not like a back alley kitty organ.
Right. And it could be, right. So what's the story? Church music. How does this create a sexy nun that can travel through time and space? I don't know, but you're right. Maybe she started out as like the organ player and encountered a magical person who gave her a horrible decision and she picked wrong, learned a lesson. And, it could be, here we go. It could be that, so we've kind of always tried to paint the sexy nun as kind of basically the personification of like the universe winking at you. Like fate is pushing you in a happy direction, and the sexy nun is something good to see. But maybe, she's doing this as a kind of punishment, or she's kind of stuck here to finish some unfinished business that all began with church music. And again, maybe it was just as simple as like she betrayed the person that trusted her the most. Isn't that like the final ring of hell is left for people who are treasonous and betray the people they love, and
people that are mean to dogs.
Right. It's right next to it. It's next to that, and all the way at the bottom. So where Brutus goes, and
I like you're throwing tea leaves on the ground. That's not a nun thing, but
it's just a messy thing. I'm just a messy guy.
No, I'm telling your fortune. You're messy, Harrison.
Stop stepping in that.
So we could go maybe a little counterculture, and there could be this is sort of like,
ooh, I see.
The nuns are imprisoned by the queen nun.
Oh, okay.
And
queen nun.
Their job is to sing the songs that inspire the parishioners to tithe. And so one of these nuns is special. It's a movie, of course.
You're right.
And
All of her
so
reason.
she tries to lead a rebellion, but the other nuns are all like brainwashed. So it gets a little maybe American Horror Story-y.
Got it.
But she's trying to get out. She sees the parishioners come on Sunday. She sees them leave, and she's always stuck here to clean the church and clean the organ and play the
Cinderella,
music.
Right.
And she knows the queen nun is going to keep her here forever. There's no way out. She's married to God, and
Yep.
she's stuck here in the church, and she wants out. She doesn't hate being a nun. Anyways, there's some sort of magic necklace thing that the
Got
queen
it.
nun has, or
Sure.
maybe it's a special song that she read about in the Dead Sea Scrolls. And she figures out
Yes.
how to break free, and in doing so inherits this special Jesus power
Okay.
to transmute between time and dimension,
Right.
and she uses that for good to go influence her first journey after she breaks out is to go
Right.
influence the banana whale, and then eventually she finds herself in Bill's banana hammock. I think is the last time
I think
we've
so.
seen her in Beer Me That Movie.
I like that. That she can. Now I'm almost seeing it as like a Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure, but instead of a phone booth, it's this
Yes.
organ. And maybe she even finds a song, like you said, in the Dead Sea Scrolls, and maybe she's just running from the queen nun through time and space, but has been given a mission by a higher power that she needs to, like, every time you play the organ and play the music, we're going to send you where you're supposed to be, but you'll only have enough time to be there to do what you need to do before the queen nun shows up, and you got to get the hell out of there.
Ooh, and that could be fun because in the movie we could
Right.
we could go back to Banana Whale.
Yeah.
Like the sexy nun united them, and then
Yes.
the queen nun shows
To
up
bail.
chasing, and she's
Yep.
like, "What you are doing is sin. You're living in
Yep.
sin. You're not
Yep.
supposed to touch
Right.
butts until you're properly married." Like, and
Butt touchers! Butt touchers! A room full of butt touchers! The
she's
Smash
just
Mouth
coming
girls.
through, making everyone feel terrible.
Right. Yeah, she's just
She
real
shrinks
party
Bill's
pooper.
penis back down to his
Right.
original size.
Right.
He ends up getting
Exactly
a
right.
divorce.
Sin. Right. Ruins Bill's life again after all the work he did. I got it. I like this. Yeah. So Queen Nun is the opposite of the sexy nun, of course.
Yeah, probably have to give her a better name, but you
I like
know
that.
what I mean when I say queen.
But she's like
nun.
Queen of None, and right, there aren't right, which is good. There are no queen nuns. That defeats the whole purpose. But I think in this, but that's why she's bad. She's perverting the word of the Lord and blah blah blah, chasing after her own power. Maybe she knew the organ was magical, but could never get it to work, and our lovely little sexy nun cracked that code.
She was the only one that could play an E flat raw for 3 seconds. Also, don't know much about music.
Right. Well, that's a thing.
Okay, great.
Sure. Playing it raw, I don't know about playing it raw, but
Playing it raw is when
Sure
you
we
put
can-
a little bit of what's
Right.
the bar on a guitar? The whammy
the
bar.
whammy bar.
Yeah.
There we go. I
Yeah,
like
that's
it.
raw.
Playing it raw, putting some extra juice in that organ.
The organ doesn't have a whammy bar.
Right.
Oh, yes,
exactly.
it does.
Well,
I
figured-
found it in
exactly
the
right.
Dead Sea
She
Scrolls.
found the mythical whammy bar. That's what she wah. That's what sends her through time and space.
All the nuns go back to check their nightstands underneath their socks just to make sure it's
Where's
the right whammy bar.
He's all right. Mine's still here. Thank goodness. Praise Jesus. All right, cool. So yeah, so that would be a fun movie because it would allow us to jump back into a few of our movies, revisit them a bit, and then also, send the nun on to the next part of her journey, which hasn't even happened yet. I mean, I'm assuming, hoping she shows up again in more of our movies. I'm sure she will. We don't know where her story goes, but maybe church music can give us a glimpse at where it went.
Get a little backstory on
Yeah, exactly.
the sexy nun.
The sexy nun who's great, but also I like that maybe she's running from something. Everyone you see
Aren't
is
we
fighting
all?
some battle, right? Even if they're laughing and helping you touch
Sometimes
butts.
it's my mortgage company.
right, often.
So thanks for the submission, Lance. Great find
Yeah.
with church music. And we're going to go to Untapped Live and look for a couple more beers that we can riff on before we get to our final one tonight.
Oh yeah.
Some beers are legends, some are forgotten. Let's find out which one this is.
So for beer number 2, this comes from Christian, made by Equilibrium Brewery, called Tidal Balance.
Tidal Balance.
Like the tides, like tidal.
Yes,
Tidal balance.
Tidal Balance.
Like if you're a surfer.
Oh, yeah, tough to balance.
Balance is not one of my things. Tidal balance it seems innate, right? We've taken this for granted. For every human on Earth, we've always had tides, and they're relatively predictable.
Right.
And they're caused by the moon.
They are.
And gravity, which is a force of physics that we sort of understand.
We don't.
So my idea for the opener in this movie is that the moon gets hit by a giant asteroid and crumbles into little pieces, thus ruining the tidal balance.
Yes.
Now, what happens on Earth because of that, I don't know. I just thought the moon exploding would be a cool opener.
You're right. I knew you were going to do that. And but I have, okay. And this movie could be, part Armageddon or mostly Armageddon of people trying to put the moon back together and failing.
Great movie because of Aerosmith, much like Bambi's Revenge because of
Creed. An opportunity there. Maybe they can get together and form Aero Creed and do the soundtrack for this one. But
I can't remember the song.
They have more than one, at least. But something kind of gosh. Okay, how about this? Oh boy.
You can rebuild the moon if I broke it. I just really wanted to.
Nope.
Okay.
I think what we'll do to have fun with it is we'll send the Bruce Willis and his team up there, whoever, some up to try to save the moon.
Can't send Bruce anymore.
I know, but we'll send Ben up, and he'll try to fix it. And while they're up there, they'll realize it wasn't hit by a comet, but it was hit by an object that was deliberately sent into the moon. Something that was created not by man, though, John. And I think whether it's the start of the second act of that movie, how the movie ends, but basically it was a strategic strike on the moon to adjust it at just the perfect amount, or move just enough of its mass, or whatever they need to do to move the oceans just enough to reveal the underwater honeycomb city of Merpeople that live under the ocean now, and bring them back to the surface. And it was destroyed, of course, by folks from their home planet, Merworld, flying to save them. Mirth. From their home planet, Mirth. And so what I'm saying is the destruction of the moon was an intentional event brought in by alien people from the planet Mirth to help liberate their brothers and sisters that have been basically stuck under the ocean for 10,000 years. Now they're going to flip the Earth upside down, and the oceans are the land's the oceans. And again, I don't know how we make a movie out of that other than Aerosmith, Ben Affleck makes out with an animal cracker. Okay. But there's this underwater civilization that's been hiding here that has now been revealed thanks to the moon and the tidal balance shifting.
Yeah, easy to do with the magic of Hollywood and the uneducation of people in general. I'll explain to you how this happens. The Merpeople inhabited Earth as the Big Bang was happening.
Sure. Okay.
They lived a glorious life at the lowest portions of Earth.
Of course, in the valleys where everything grew.
Water happened, and then we got the moon, and that locked all. And that locked all the oceans into where they are. They just sunk down into the low spots. So the people from Mirth finally got. It takes a long time to send an intergalactic DM.
It takes 13 billion years, it sounds like.
So they got the message and they sent something back, and it's this little rocket-propelled booster, which brings the moon much closer to Earth.
Got it.
So now the tides are so strong that it sucks the ocean up into the higher parts of Earth. This is how it covers the land with water. And those at the base of there's a lot of flappy fish down there in the beginning. Sad for them. But we see these like ancient Walmarts and stuff that the Mer people have been set up and living off of, eating their kelp chips and stuff.
Ooh, kelp chips. Exactly. And then so what do? Go to war with them, live together?
I think we're all drowned.
I think
it's like
most of us are
biggest
dead.
typhoon ever.
And
There's a couple people in Louisiana on a raft somewhere.
Right, floating away. A couple people in Colorado that got up to the top of the mountain. And then the 20 people in space that tried to fix the moon come back to an Earth where all humanity's gone. They're the only 20 humans left. Right. And they just have to go, assimilate with the Merpeople, move to Mirth. We'll figure that out. That's the whole movie. The whole movie is, what do we do here with this kind of Christopher Columbus meets the Native Americans for the first time, except this time the Native Americans win.
Been here long before, and they just drowned everyone.
They just drowned everybody. They just killed 7
billion
billion
it could be cool.
people.
Maybe the space station has a little landing rocket.
Right.
They're like, we're going to have to land on the Marianas Trench.
Right.
So there's no water there anymore. This is really freaking weird.
Or maybe it's like, a lot of people die, but a lot of people are also like stuck in their homes or stuck in Walmarts that are somehow perfectly sealed from the water. And if the humans decide to, they found a way to move the moon back. But do they do it? Do they free all the humans trapped under this new ocean at the cost of, once again, drowning all these people that have been stuck on Earth forever? Or do they say, well, humanity had our shot. It's the Mirthians now. They get to run this planet.
Mirthlings. Mirthians is good. Mirthians is good.
Amazing.
I think it would be fun to have that decision come down to
Ben Affleck,
the president,
Ben Affleck has
who
to
is now
decide.
Ben Affleck,
in space,
who has to go meet the Merpeople.
Yeah.
Damn it, the Mirthlings,
the
and decide if they're better than we were.
Yeah, yeah.
And how do they decide? Who knows?
Right.
This will go into the vault.
Arm wrestling championship.
Of course. Wait, you arm wrestle way different. You go backwards?
Right.
I didn't know we go backwards. I was trying to pin you
with your feet. We don't have any feet. We'll figure it out.
Yeah, what do they look like? That'll be fun.
It will be fun
if this happens. But for now, it's going into the vault. That's our second beer, and we're looking for our third.
Can you believe these are the same two guys that gave us Banana Whale?
For beer number 3, this is given to us by Lee. It's made by Ghost Town Brewing, and it's called Power Nap. So
love those.
Don't know how to do that. For me, any sort of nap is just bedtime.
Got it.
But I have a couple ideas. I don't have an idea for this movie, but some things that come to mind.
Let's go.
You sometimes in the old days would put your MacBook to sleep, I think, and it was called a power nap.
Yes, it was.
So it was like a technology thing. There's also the idea that like napping gives you power. So maybe it's like a business executive or something. But then the one that really sticks in my head is the idea that it's like the story of a power nap gone wrong.
Oh.
Maybe it's a babysitter. Maybe it's a new father. Maybe it's an uncle babysitting and takes a power nap. And when he wakes up, the kids are gone and the parents are going to be home in a couple hours, but doesn't know where the 2 kids are. These are the first things that come to mind for me with power nap. Also, maybe like we're advanced to the point where we are cyborgs and we literally have to take these power naps to plug in our USB cords to recharge ourselves.
Yeah.
And there's certain, like if you work at the Taco Bell, their chargers don't work as good, so you have to be plugged in all the time while you're working, and people view that as like substandard working conditions.
Ooh, I like that. I like the last idea. Right, it's the future. We're all kind of cyborgy, and where you get your power matters, and maybe, but the idea of a power nap doesn't even exist yet. It's much more about like, oh, you feel tired, just plug in, charge up, keep going.
Wealthy people have like wireless charging floors.
Right, like people don't sleep as much, and so that all that does is make the rich richer and the poor just work harder and more exhausted. But they can do it because they just charge and they keep going. And it could be, here's where it's less clear. Is it some revolution? Is it the first time maybe some poor person like crawls into a closet at Taco Bell, plugs in, passes out, and actually wakes up fully charged for the first time? Like the elite have been keeping the lower class like barely charged up,
just giving them
and
trickle
awake.
chargers.
Right, but this one person, whether it's by some kind of a different cyborg setup or just was smart enough to actually pass out and charge at the same time and woke up smarter, faster, basically exactly what the elite don't want, someone from the bottom with enough time and energy to outsmart them and start tearing the whole thing down.
I think I like the idea of sort of like I like the idea of a rebellion plot in almost any movie, and in this case, it could be kind of fun where this is it's like a new form of classism or oppression or something.
Yeah.
And this one or two, whatever, Taco Bell workers, whatever it ends up being, find a way to sort of hack the power, and they put people into a power nap.
Okay.
They find a way to do a reverse charge or whatever it is.
Right.
So they
there
take the
we
power.
go.
So and then it's almost like they go from working 3 double shifts in a day to having all of the power. Maybe they can wireless charge like Iron Man. They can wireless decharge you so that they could effectively put the whole world to sleep
into a power nap.
And then the world is their playground, and they wouldn't have to wait in line for Disney, and they wouldn't. They could just like open up all the ice cream containers in a grocery store and take one spoon and put them back.
I love that.
Or throw them on the ground.
Well, I
don't know why they would put them back. That's a good point.
I like this. I like that. Using the power and the napping to rise up like Robin Hood would, stealing power and power banks for other poor folks, but kind of taking the power from the rich to use to charge up their friends who need it. This could be fun. Kind of like a Robin Hood type movie, but instead of gold coins, it's electricity.
Power.
Power.
Yeah, there's it could be fun.
Yes,
it could be fun.
We can have fun. We can
some
always
things
have
to
fun.
work on there, but fun name.
Indeed.
Go ahead.
Yeah, it is good. Fun name, fun idea.
Power nap.
Power nap.
Don't go to sleep hungry.
Don't go to sleep. Don't be put to sleep.
True.
Wake up.
All right, let's see if we can do better for beer number 4, which is coming up next.
Like a cold beer on a hot day, this next story is about to hit just right.
Beer number 4 was checked in by Chris, made by Blood Brothers Brewing, and it's called Doll's Eye.
All right, Doll's Eye. So I have, as always, John, 1% of something, but I think you're gonna hear it and you're gonna know the rest. No pressure.
I hope so.
No pressure.
No, I hope it works out better than Power Nap did for me.
Don't worry about that. So it's about a bunch of people that need to plug in. No, I'm just kidding. So it's okay. So Doll's Eye. Okay. Nanny cams. Nanny cams can hide in stuffed bears and dolls, whatever. Look like a doll's eye. We've got a nanny cam in a doll in a house, and it records something: a murder, an infidelity, a mystery. Just a dead body shows up, and only the nanny cam caught it or saw it or whatever. Now we have to decide. And let's say it's a murder, okay? So for an example, we can change this obviously as you play around with it. But someone important is dead, and maybe the police, the murderer, nobody knows that there's a camera in the doll's eye except for one person, our protagonist. Maybe it's the babysitter or the nanny. Even though they're usually the one being spied on by the nanny cam, maybe this one set up the nanny cam to whatever.
It's like protect. She's like,
protection,
just in case they say I stole your watch, I will have my camera.
I'll have my camera on your cameras. And so the movie is kind of a race. It's a thriller. So it's like this person who, shouldn't know something, knows too much, needs to get to the camera before the police impound what they think it's just a doll and it's lost forever and they can solve the murder, but they're in too deep and the cops are involved, or again, then we can kind of all figure it out. But the whole crux of it is this camera has recorded the murder and only one person even knows the camera exists, and they're outmatched and out-resourced by everybody else who wants this kind of to go away or go their way, and they got to fight the good fight against the powers that be to bring justice to this person that was murdered.
Doll's Eye. I like the premise. I like a good, like, kind of thriller type movie here. Not very gory or over the top, like stuffed cheeks.
Right.
But my twist might be, okay, so it maybe it opens up on the murder. We don't capture all of it. We see like kind of a hooded figure, and then we see someone hit the ground, and then we see blood. But we see it all happening through like a shitty camera lens.
Yes.
So you as the viewer know that this is being recorded, and then we get the cops are here and they're investigating, and the homeowner, the dad or the mom and dad are like, yeah, we have cameras all over the house. We have a nanny watch the house. The nanny's the one that got murdered. And the cops are looking at the footage and like, well, there's no camera footage that shows where the murder happens. Like, she must have, maybe she knew that there was no camera there, but she got killed. Why would she go to, so like, I don't know. It's too complex to roll into one long sentence, but we don't, no one knows that this camera existed except for us, the viewers.
Okay. Okay.
The movie, like, we keep getting close, and like, he's like, oh yeah, I do have, like, I have this old security cam built into the what is it, smoke alarm,
right?
And they're like, great, let's check. And they get the SD card, and they're like, no. And like, you as the viewer, you see, and you're like, this isn't the way I saw it happen in the beginning.
Not the camera.
And eventually we learn that the doll's eye was the camera, and that somehow tells us who the murderer is as well. I think it would be a cool movie if the whole time you're led to believe it was the dad that was the murderer.
Right.
But then when you finally see the doll with the camera, then you learn, like, oh, who's the real killer?
Right. The cop, the other nanny, the wife.
The nanny that was
the
trying
child.
to get the job.
Right.
Maybe it is the wife.
Child.
Maybe the wife knew about an affair.
Yeah, those movies are always fun. Yeah, I like that. I like that twist, though. It's kind of like Vantage Point, which was a movie from forever ago, where you see the same murder happen from 3 different or 4 different people's perspectives. You don't know who did it until the end. Something like that. Those are fun movies where you're right. You have maybe like the final piece of the puzzle, but don't know who put it together, and that's your job. Yeah, we could have fun with that. It'd be tough to do as a Beer Me That Movie, but we could figure it out. I'm game for a challenging one like that. It's been a bit since we had some cat and mouse stuff.
Yeah, it takes me back to like Window Seat Daydream and some of our earlier. I have the most fun when we do a movie that has some comedy elements in it. But this could be fun. But for tonight, it's going to go directly into the vault.
That's right.
Which is publicly available on beermethatmovie.com.
That's right.
You can vote for our leading vault beers, and you can pick your 4 favorites. And one day they'll get turned into a feature from the vault.
Yeah.
But right now, we're going to gear up for a very special beer number 5, which doesn't even exist on Untapped yet, I don't think.
It does. It's there. It's in.
Well,
in, John.
In that case, I'm going to pull it up. But beer number 5 tonight is called They Don't Call Me Muffin for Nothing, and it's made by Funktastic Meads. Now, that should sound familiar to at least you, Harrison, and all of you listening. Can you give me a little bit of a background on how we ended up with this, Harrison?
Yeah, so, again, straight from Matt, the Funktastic, Mr. Funktastic. So that was a line that I think I said, I don't remember, in Muffin on the Backside, where at some point Muffin says, they don't call me Muffin for nothing. And he, I don't know, Matt liked that line, laughed about it, sent us a message saying, like, don't call it Muffin for nothing. That's amazing. And we had a great back and forth about that. And then a few days later, kind of reached out again and was like, I really can't stop thinking about, I'm paraphrasing, Matt, like that line is hilarious. I think I'm going to name my next Imperial Stout, They Don't Call Me Muffin for Nothing. And we were flattered and amazed and couldn't believe it was real. And he did it. So released it for their anniversary party that, again, like just happened. So if you were there, let us know. Hopefully it was a blast. And we couldn't, and sent it to us. So amazing. Thank you, Matt. I'm glad we kind of could return the favor after Muffin on the Backside inspired us. Something from that movie inspired you to make another beer. And
really glad it wasn't a human-sized penis full of ranch testicles.
Because it could have been. Close call.
I mean, the Muffin on the Backside is delicious. If you made a ranch stout, I'm sure it would be good. But I'm very glad that they don't call me Muffin for nothing. It's going to be cinnamon, coconut, both raw and toasted. And we're going to be drinking it next week when we record the feature. But real quick, before we dive in fully to this beer number 5, we've got an emergency muffin situation.
Yeah, not medical, emotional, possibly spiritual.
Correct. The fine degenerates at Funktastic, as we've been talking about, got us this beer in our hands, and it's so damn good that we're throwing democracy in the trash with this Fast Five.
That's right. Voting, canceled, rules. We don't need them. Muffin, that's mandatory.
Next week's feature film will be a sequel to Muffin on the Backside, no matter what.
But we still need your help. So John and I each picked a different Muffin sequel idea, and we need you to vote on which one we are going to make.
It's kind of like a Sophie's Choice, but with more muffins.
Thank goodness. So head to Instagram and cast your vote. Muffin deserves your civic engagement.
Because next week, we're diving headfirst into the Muffinverse. Full cheeks ahead.
Ooh.
So, Harrison, we each have a movie pitch for this one.
Yes.
As I often do, I'm just going to ask you to go first.
Great. So, looking back on Muffin and Muffin's journey.
As we often do.
Past the ranch and the sex in the sand traps. And there's a lot in that episode. A lot of characters. There's clones. There's sexing people to death. Classism. There's a lot happening.
Donna.
Right, Donna.
Who could forget Donna
sweetheart.
Showing Muffin how to be a woman?
Donna.
Dick.
Donna,
was it
Donna,
Dick
Donna.
the chef?
There was Dick the chef.
Yep.
Yes. And then Dean Bean was
of course.
The main character who checked in. Muffin on the Backside for us. Dean Bean was one of the main characters. Not Muffin, of course. Muffin was the main character. But so a lot to parse through, but I think one of my favorite moments that I laughed about the most from that episode, we were talking about buying moon plots and plots on the moon. And so when I heard that this beer was coming our way, we got a chance to do something with it on Beer That Movie, that doing something with the moon, we just did something with Merkins, or whatever we're calling them, Merlings.
Merkins are different. We have done something with Merkins before, though.
The Merpeople from Mirth. We're going to go back to the moon in my pitch for They Don't Call Her Muffin for Nothing. Why? Well, I think the basic premise, and John and I will kind of have fun with it together right now, to give you guys an idea of what we're thinking, but is that, okay, so Muffin's won, the clones are free, all the rich folks are dead and gone, or are they? And maybe it kind of picks up with, like, oh, we killed Mr. Albergast and so is dead on pole number 9, but we can't seem to find the Smiths or the Joneses anywhere. And they kind of write it off as they ran away and things are happy in this clone utopia for a bit. But Muffin can't get that thought out of her head of, like, what happened, where did they go? Even though they're living in a beautiful, free clone world where the orphans are all out, and have their own homes and everything's great. Whenever that happens, if you've been through a traumatic event to get to your utopia, you're probably always a little worried that someone can come and snatch it away from you. You're always looking over your shoulder. Certainly Muffin is. And one day she looks over her shoulder at the moon. And I think what we'll learn in this movie is that some of the rich elites that escaped didn't just escape the town. They escaped the planet and brought some clones with them. And so what Muffin discovers through a hidden map, a secret file on a computer, of a satellite that no one knows exists, we'll figure that out, is that there's basically the Joneses and the Smiths, or whoever they end up being, these rich people who left, went to the moon, rebuilt the country club little world up there in like a dome and a moon crater, and a bunch of their friends that have been cloned, well, their clones are stuck up there, basically enslaved again. They're trying to rebuild the world that they loved and lost. These rich folks are on the moon, and Muffin's got to get up there in like a Moonraker James Bond style movie and go liberate the clones from the moon. So that's basically what I have, John, for my. They don't call her Muffin for nothing. We're taking Muffin to space.
I figured you would have gone there.
I know, I'm predictable.
Well,
I just love the moon.
Yeah,
I just love the moon.
That's what I would say.
It's the moon.
That's what the investors said. You want to buy some moon property, Muffin?
I'm a sucker for moon. You've got some moon to sell me. I'm buying.
Yeah, I had no doubts at all that Harrison's version was going to involve the moon somehow. But so you're putting. I'm going to call them the Goldwaiths and the Gilfobs.
Perfect. Way better than the Smiths and the Joneses.
The two richest surviving members of the country club have rebuilt this civilization on the moon. And so Muffin, now older, she's kind of grown used to her freedom. And then there was also a clone. We brought Dean Bean into the movie. True. And I think that's, if I remember, what we named Muffin's clone was Dean Bean. It was DB.
Oh, that's true.
I think so. So Dean Bean, the Muffin clone, comes back from her Rumspringa.
Got it.
And Muffin's kind of leading this uprising around 17th Street, and Dean Bean's talking about there's so much other world out there, and sex isn't always just a transaction. Like it can actually be pretty fun. I've learned a lot about sex. There's some other things that I like. There's other places you can put it. Muffin's like, all right.
I get it.
I also have some news that this is happening again. Everything we went through and fought against is happening on the moon. So then we just
on the moon
need to figure out, which won't be that hard because I think we brought cyborg people in at the end.
We did. The robots can build a spaceship in a day.
Easy. Really easy to do.
We're getting to the moon quick.
Powered by burning the money that was left at the country club.
Right.
It shoots them up into the moon. Then the part that worries me is it could kind of just become Muffin on the backside on the moon. But
it could.
But there's ways that we could keep running the clone thing and evolve it. Like now there's not just sex clones, but they know they have to make military security clones.
Right.
So there's like a whole new clone force, and there could be this big battle between Dean Bean, the Muffin clone, using their clone twin mind power to try and and maybe Dean Bean gets swayed to come back and join the family that you were born into. Why are you helping a pure human?
Right. I like that. Maybe they're forcing them to mine on the moon for some mineral. It's not about sex slavery. It's just about
there are some of those.
But there's plenty of mining to do. So so it's a little bit of Total Recall where they're trying to hide the truth, obviously, from the clones, that they're clones, and on the moon. It'd be Total Recall-y meets Muffin on the backside.
Definitely a sex clone that makes you wish you had 3 hands. That's for sure.
Or 4. We've seen 3, folks. I'm seeing a 4-breasted clone.
Just all the way around. Like someone jumped into the pool and got stuck in the little floaty
thing. And never took it off.
It's just one boob, though. It's just one big old boob all the way around
you. And on the moon, those things are floating. They're taking off. So, even better, I guess. Tough to breathe or think or sleep, but doesn't matter when all you're doing is mining.
You've always got someone looking out for you.
Yeah, mining or boating. Whew, all right. So that's an idea. We're going to the moon. You guys get it. We're going to liberate some clones. We're going to have some fun moon fights. And we're back with Muffin. There's amazing lines. I'm just happy about the moon.
Harrison's been trying to get us there for a while. Okay, so let's take a look at option number 2.
Yes, John, tell me what you got.
So I'm calling this the Muffin Protocol. It's designed to be kind of like a spy thriller, like what was it, Quiet Legend. Or if I was building my own sections in Blockbuster, I would put this in the erotic conspiracy satire.
Right.
The only thing deeper than the cover is the cleavage. Butt cleavage, because we're talking about Muffin.
Right, that's right.
So basically, it's going to happen 5 or so years after the events of Muffin on the Backside.
Okay.
We start seeing disappearances across the globe.
Ooh.
Like globally, not just a couple of kids from your hometown, but important people, former country club members as well.
Right.
A lot of the upper class end up disappearing.
Okay.
Muffin has begun working as a private investigator, Muffin herself. Also part-time exotic dance therapist, because you got to use what Donna gave you. And speaking of which, she gets called out of this retirement from Donna, her former How to Be a Woman mentor.
Womanator.
And Donna's got kind of a mission. The main idea, I think, is that the bodies aren't necessarily, they're not just vanishing, but they're gone for a while and then they're coming back. And this caused Donna to kind of come back and say, like, they go missing for 2 weeks. They come back. They're much sexier. They're often said to be void of emotions. And I'm worried that this is something bigger. We're breeding sort of like we're breeding a race that's going to end us all. They're using the clones again, Muffin. We need you back. So it's Donna and Muffin teaming up again, but this time cloning has gone global.
Got it.
And it's gone largely undetected, except for Donna's golden eye.
Yeah, of course. Their one good eye.
And Muffin putting back her PI uniform and quitting the exotic dance therapy to get re-involved in this global Manchurian sort of thing happening.
I see it. I see this. I like this. Another thriller idea. A spy thriller. An erotic spy thriller. Yeah. Which aren't they all? I mean, when is James Bond not under the sheets with somebody? So this, I like this. This is very cool. I don't have really much to add. I like that it's spread up across the globe. This, because that's kind of the question we're both trying to answer: is what happened to these elites? Was this really just happening at this country club, or was the country club a testing ground? Was it just one of many cells of clones being weaponized across the country? It sounds like yes.
Once humanity figures out how to make a sex clone, it's over.
It really
Everyone's going to know how to make
one. Right. So we're just waiting for that day. But until then, we'll dream it up. But this is good. Anything else, John? Any fun twists or seasonings to add to this? I mean, this is plenty, I think, to get folks hopefully at home excited if they want a fun cop thriller, secret spy Muffin. Sure. It stays on Earth. This is the one.
Private. My initial hope was that this would be like a noir detective thing.
Yeah, I can see that. Very Casablanca. But
I like making jokes too much to really do that seriously. But like, here's an example. We could play into the AI craze.
Of course.
Any of you that talked to one person today have probably talked about AI in some fashion. And so the idea could be that the big new protagonist, we initially think it's the rich, but then we find out it's a super AI who goes by the code name from one of my favorite moments in the original Muffin on the Backside, ball starch. Corn starch on your balls in the country club. So this ball starch AI is the thing, is the sentient creature that is building these clones to replace humanity.
Yes.
We might eventually learn that the clones themselves are basically just fingers of this AI.
Oh, yeah.
That's going around trying to destroy humanity.
I like that. I like the AI twist. We did that in Rare Snack, but haven't really done it since. And again, it's 2025. We should be talking about AI every minute, John. So here we are, bringing it up again tonight. All right. So that was the Muffin Protocol. I didn't come up with a name for mine yet, but we can probably call it something like
Muffin on the Moon?
Moon Muffin, Muffin on the
Moon
Moon.
Muffin?
Moon Muff Moon Rising.
Oh, yeah.
Muff Moon Rising.
I mean, I think officially it has to be called They Don't Call Me Muffin for Nothing.
It will be, but for voting purposes, the idea that I started with, we can call it Muff Moon Rising, and we'll call John's the Muffin Protocol. They will be titled whichever one you guys vote for in the feature. They don't call her Muffin for nothing, but that way we can kind of tell them apart for voting purposes. Wow.
And respectfully, neither of us leaned onto the ranch-filled penis to get cheap votes.
Right, but probably expected to come back.
It's basically Muffin on the Moon.
It's powered. They get there from the ranch penises. It's how they get to the moon.
Squeeze, Muffin. Milk it till you get to the stratosphere.
We'll never make it. We're going to blow up over the ocean. Calm down, Muffin. She's too good. She's too good.
Used up all the gas. It's in a refractory period. We're going down.
We're feeling really bad about some decisions we've made.
Muffin starts whispering in its ear, and it's starting to work again.
We're back up. Yeah. Here we go. Oh, my God.
You're losing aerodynamics. It's flopping all over.
Oh, it's getting cold in here, I swear. So, yeah, we could have a lot of fun with both ideas. So we're excited to see which one you guys pick.
Yeah, terrestrial or moon muffin, basically.
Right. Either way.
Or muffin. We got to talk about the moon twice today, Harrison.
It's a good day.
I hope that this means you've had a great day.
A great day, John. A fantastic day. I'm full of muffin on the backside and silly ideas and excitement to see what you guys pick next week. Also, obviously, in the comments and stuff on Instagram or Spotify or wherever you like to contact us, let me know if you liked any of the other beer ideas a lot, too. We'll put at least one of them in the vault for a rainy day. But, again, what's happening next week is they don't call our muffin for nothing. You're just picking which version of it we're making. So please go vote on that. And we'll come back and drink that beer and make that movie. And it's a big old boozy one, so man, oh man, that third act is going to be one for the books.
True, I might bring some whiskey to
even
calm down. Yeah,
it's a good idea.
Thanks so much for listening. We can't wait to see you next week and figure out if Muffin's on the moon or on the Earth.
That's right. Maybe we shall do a little bit of both. But until then,
peace.
Punch.
Gimme
your
muffin. This is so good.
Much muffin's gonna muffin, muff, muff, if a muffin good, muff, muff, muffins.